make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'll surrender.
How does a wearable air purifier like Avicii M1 work? Well, in simple terms, it cleans the air and helps filter out dust and other harmful bacteria. No filter needed. Rechargeable and portable. Perfect for people on the go. It has easy controls and stylish design that is pretty lightweight. It also has power boost technology that provides 9 times more cleaning power. Wear it around your neck and have a sphere of breathable clean air anywhere you go. Make sure to get your units now. Visit us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Erology or our Instagram account at _Erology. Avicii M1. Breathe healthy. Stay healthy. Tonight is a very special episode because it's our season finale.
Yes, we will come up with a more fun season 2.
Muna atong invite sila today na to stay with us until the end of this live show because later on we are gonna tell them more about season 2, a little teaser about what's gonna happen in season 2. Nya na atay a special guest para at least na gamay kuan ba teaser.
Modernong Pilosopo.
Modernong Pilosopo.
Modernong Pilosopo.
Ancient philosophies presented and discussed by 2 Modernong Pilosopos in free-flowing, unscripted, raw, yet fun and relatable conversations. Modernong Pilosopo. Modernong Pilosopo, the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, your host for tonight's show,
Brian Bruces and attorney Rene Abseri Jr. All right, we are live. Ako raming gusto. Today, uban ni utro today. Amga. Ayay. Nalimbat akong screen. All right. Mayang gabi diha sa atong mga kapilosopo. Good evening. Rudy, kumusta diha? Natay gamang technical problems ganina. Mong wa din ta kasugod on time. Pero na okay na. Nya atong i-test kung basig ning kagarga po ng Skype ni attorney. Sam na ladi. Sulti daw suway. Mic test 1, 2, 3. Kadali. Kabaw kung announce ka. Di daw. Wala kay sound. Sige daw ladi. Imong buwan audio wala. Di madungog.
Sure.
Kana madungog
Alright.
ka.
Yes, sure.
Kana may gabi dia. Musta lodi?
Yeah, may gabi siya.
May gabi sa atong mga kapilosopo. And tonight is a very special episode because it's our season finale, episode number 10 sa atong Modernong Pilosopo. And we have been in doing live for 10 sessions na lodi.
Yeah, for 10 consecutive weeks. Yeah. And
Ni feedback ka lodi na sa imong speaker. Siguro i-mute lang imong speaker.
in the speaker.
Kana.
Are we done? Are we okay, so far?
You sound better. Okay, kana. Larga, fire.
Yeah, basta siya. And season finale na to sa atong Modernong Pilosopo sa atong season 1.
Yes.
Yes, we will come up with a more fun season 2. On.
Definitely.
We are contemplating another platform. And of course, it will be another concept which will again cater to our listeners, to educate them, give them, knowledge, certain things that of course we can impart.
Muna atong invite sila today na to stay with us until the end of this live show because later on we are gonna tell them more about season 2, a little teaser about what's gonna happen in season 2 nya na atay a special guest kadiyot before ta mo end sa atong program para at least naigamayng teaser para sa atong mga loyal nga listeners, atong loyal nga viewers na all the time ni kuyog na to from the beginning until this final or finale episode number 10. And of course tonight we are still gonna talk about another philosopher and see, of course, these are 2 Greek ancient philosophers in the name of Plato and Aristotle, right?
Yeah. We're gonna be like, in one session ato siyang i-conceptualize ang both Plato and Aristotle. Last time we have Socrates, and then as much as possible right now atong isulod si Plato and Aristotle. Because when you speak of Great Ancient Philosophy, we're going to be talking about 3, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. So last setting, or let me say last session or episode we discussed about Socrates. So right now we're going to be discussing about Plato and Aristotle. And Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, they are interrelated because Socrates, katuwa-to ang philosopher before, is a street philosopher, one of the ancient wise men in Greece at that time. He was a street philosopher. One of his favorite students was Plato. And Plato, of course, became very popular. He founded his own school. And one of his favorite students was Aristotle. So you have Socrates, young student, si Plato, and of course Plato, young student, si Aristotle. We are talking about 3 generations of Greek philosophers. And practically speaking, the general concept about the 3, if going to, the common denominator of the 3 is that they are philosophers. When you speak of philosophy, it's basically the love of wisdom and knowledge. So anong panahon magudyo, there are certain people who are claiming to be the monopolizers of knowledge and know-hows. There are people who claim to be the oracle, in which you ask them questions and they will give you the answer. It is as if saying that, you don't have the capacity to know something. You don't have the capacity to have the knowledge. You don't have the capacity to have the idea because I have the one who had this. But these 3 people, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, they are the few individuals at that time who broke the norm. That each of us is capable of knowing. Each of us is capable of having a certain idea or knowledge. That's why, practically speaking, they became very popular during the ancient times. Socrates before Christ, and you have no Plato. So what I said, student of Socrates. He is the person who actually conceptualized or butanta lang iyang gi-materialize ang kinabuhi ni Socrates. Because Socrates, katong gi-mention at the last time, he never left any writing.
Tinood.
Libro. So we don't have any way of verifying his existence, his writing. But it was Plato, his favorite student, his outstanding student, who became a founder of a school himself known as the Academy. He made his own school, Mantarsho, the Academy. So you have to remember Socrates, street philosopher. People gather around in a public place and Socrates will just, with the Socratic method of question and answering, ang iyang outstanding student was Plato. He built his own school. And it was founded as an inspiration of Socrates. But of course, we are aware of the fact that Socrates lived a very tragic life.
Correct.
Socrates was an individual who taught the people the art of knowing or knowledge. But at the end of the day, he was executed. Patay siya. Because he posed a threat to the state at that time because he was able to teach the people how to reason out.
Correct.
He was executed, he died. And when they executed, he died. His favorite student, Plato, was really, really, devastated. As a matter of fact, he left Athens for a certain period of time. Discouraged siya. Because you can imagine, parang imong maestro, your teacher, your inspiration, who was executed, patay for a reason, which is not really justifiable. So he was really, was really discouraged. But when Plato came back, he was already mature. He created his own school, the academy. He wrote many books. Ang star siyang books, si Socrates. Muna siya sa mga story ni Plato. And one of the basic things na di na ko malimtan ni Plato, kaniyang story of the allegory in the cave. I'd like to repeat that. Allegory of the cave, Percho.
Sige, iwa ko kadong na.
More or less sa Bisaya pa, like the story of the prisoners inside the cave, something like that. Allegory of the cave. It's a story. Allegory, the cave, Percho. It's more of a metaphor. More on siya like a analogy or comparison of a story versus the real pursuit of what's real knowledge.
Okay.
He compared that to an allegory of a cave, which means that there are people who are prisoners ba? They are imprisoned inside a cave. And when you speak of the cave, of course, the cave is very, very dark. And of course, when it's dark, you don't know what's in the outside because you're a prisoner.
Correct.
And in that story of the allegory of the cave of Plato, na burning fire, na bonfire sa likod sa prisoner behind them. And that particular fire behind them, there are images that are behind them together with the fire, and it created shadows sa front of mga prisoners. Those shadows in front of the prisoners, for them, those are reflections of what's the truth.
Okay.
Para nila, kung siya makita nito ka shadow, nga reflection of a person, for them, that's the real person. For them, what's reflected them as an image of an animal in the shadow, for them, that's a real animal. For many years, because they are prisoners inside the cave, for them, that's a reflection of what's reality. But then again, one time, there is one prisoner inside the cave was able to escape. And that particular prisoner, just one prisoner, was able to escape outside the cave. He saw the light, the real light. So, for a fact, very shines, very bright. He was not able to open his eyes for the first time. And he saw what's the reality outside the cave. And because he was amazed with the truth, part Shoba. That's real, is really outside the cave. He went back.
Okay.
Told his fellow prisoners that let's go outside because the reality really is really outside. Kita mo part because ang iyang mga kauban inside the cave, they were so engrossed with the reality inside the cave, they don't believe him. And what happened is that they even killed that prisoner who went outside, who was supposedly there to free them from the enslavement of the false truth and reality inside the cave. That's basically the story ended there. For Plato Manggod, the prisoners that were inside the cave, these are the common individuals who are inside. They're inside with their old norms. That whatever they are taught for them, that's already the truth. Hatag sa ilaha, that's already the truth. But the person was able to escape outside the cave. Those are the philosophers. Those are the people who are willing to risk everything in pursuit of what's the truth and the real knowledge. But unfortunately, according to Plato, katunong mga real philosophers who basically in pursuit of what's real are the ones that are being assassinated,
persecuted.
Kinsa man ay referred to. He is referring to his very dear teacher, Socrates.
Yung idol.
Yung idol, di ba Socrates namatay beto? Basically because taught the people the art of argumentation, Socratic method, question and answering.
Correct.
So basically, muna siya ang allegory of the cave ni Plato. Right.
So yung refer dia to si Socrates ay yung idol?
Yung refers Socrates. That particular prisoner was able to go outside from the cave, and he saw what's the reality outside the cave. And because he was so engrossed with the reality, he wanted his fellow prisoners to really know the truth. Ibalik siya. practically to set them free, but at the end of the day, they didn't believe him, and as a matter of fact, they even killed him. Process. Para nila mura siyang na-infected, para niya he became a madman when he went outside because the truth is really inside. The images, the shadows is in the cave, it's the truth. That's the allegory of the cave. What Plato is trying to say when he founded his school, the academy, is that we don't just receive what is being taught by our teachers. If you're a philosopher, you not just receive knowledge, but you also create your own. Knowledge is accessible to everyone because being knowledgeable is a virtue by itself. Dapat ka maota. Di na ingon nga magdahom ta, tuor tawon sa ingon sa uban, according to Plato. Technically, mo gina siya ang pasabot ni Plato siyang allegory. Di ba, Parcha? Of course, this has reference, of course, what's happening with the Philippines right now. Like
Very relatable.
Yeah, historically speaking, Parso, sa panahon sa Spanish colonial period, I mean, even before sa ato ang mga pre-Hispanic colonial period, we are aware of that. Nihitong edukasyon ang mga atong mga colonial Filipinos.
Correct.
And sa atong sa Hispanic period, Parso, privilege yung kayo edukasyon. Katuras mga ilustrado, dilang Rizal.
Correct.
Mind you, Bonifacio is one of our national hero. Wala to siya ka-eskwela. Self-educated si Bonifacio. Ang mga edukado gid sa itong mga national hero is limited to Mabini, Aguinaldo, of course, our very own national hero, Jose Rizal, katura mga kwartahan. Kato mga Indio, sila Daguhoy, silang Leon Gilat.
Wato ka sila taon.
Wala to ka sa Lapu-Lapu, Parso. Because education, of course, to panahon na, is only limited to the ilustrado. Because education is not a matter of right that it's accessible to everyone.
Privilege ang education sa una.
Unlike right now, if you compare that sa panahon ni Plato, and of course right now, if Plato would have been alive right now, Plato, I think, would have been satisfied or happy because knowledge is not just limited to education or educational attainment. Because you can be educated per se if you have access to technology.
Correct.
Yeah, but then again, if wala kay resources, you are not educated. At the same time, you don't have access to technology. Then of course, wala jud kay empowerment. Because knowledge right now, we are aware of the fact is knowledge is power. Kaning idea knowledge of power, basically it came from Socrates and of course Plato.
Exactly. That's also our mission to remind our viewers, our audience nga we are trying to impart knowledge in a very relatable manner. Kay we know exactly what's going on in our country and even the whole world today nga naglisod tanan where everybody's at home because of this pandemic. So we're trying our best to make everything relatable kaning mga philosophers. And mind you, again, we're doing this because we know Ludi nga kani at para nako for the past I'm telling everybody this because for the past 10 episodes, to be honest, kalimtan na yung tanan. Para lang ma-relate sa uban, nakalimtan na yung tanan. Of course, daghan na to, parehan ako siguro nakalimot na ni gidiscuss ni pag college, nya natuog lang ta ni ikyas klase. Mo ni ang origin sa modernong pilosopo kay kanang ganahan mi ni attorney mo share. In fact, si attorney ang mas knowledgeable na mo. Ako, again, I'm the student here, but we're not claiming that we're experts here. We are kani istorya ni nga murag naalang mi sa among kusina, among garden, nagtagay-tagay gamay, among gi-share ang among nahibaw-an regarding aning mga philosophers because makapangutana ta karon ba asa manigikan ning atong mga political leaders sa atong country aning ilang mga decision making. And in fact, if you have been listening to our episodes from day 1, episode 1 until episode 9, we were able to relate these theories, these philosophies in our modern situation. So before mo padayon si attorney, ako lang i-invite tanan nga, of course, we are already available in Spotify, ubay nang naminaw, and of course in YouTube, na naputay YouTube Modernong Pilosopo. For those of you who have not watched us live, for those of you who were not able to listen to episode 1 and other episodes, it's readily available for you to listen and gain more knowledge. Muna siya
Yeah.
Padayon.
All right, so Plato. Alright, so far, mura man na siya kompleto, Parcho. Let me just add, sa may mitagay ni Parcho.
CR. Well lang na ko. CR ni. Ano ni? Wine nga. Carlo
Yay.
Rossi. CR. Gikan
CR.
CR.
Impigil daw ni
EL.
ako. Wine ba? Painit sa kuan. Painit sa kagabion.
Yeah.
Sabado.
Let me just share lang siguro, Parcho, ang ideal state ni
Ideal state.
Yeah. Para niya ang the ideal government na para niya it's composed of three social class.
Okay.
Namely the rulers, muna siya mga philosopher kings. Number 2 ato mga soldiers.
Okay.
And number 3 you have your mga workers.
Okay.
Ulo rin yun na Parcho. So either ruler ka or philosopher king. Number 2 you are a soldier. And number 3 you are a worker. Tulo rin yun na Parcho.
Okay.
State for that matter, dapat na siyang three social class. And when do you know that you are suited for that particular class? For Plato, an individual ko Parcho, ikaw as a person, your soul kuno is divided into three kuno Parcho.
Okay.
Namely your cognitive, we are referring to our rational
thinking.
Parcho, brain na to. And it could be also the affective na to. Meaning we're referring to our spirit, atong kasing-kasing. We are also referring to our locomotive. We're referring to our appetite ug kani ato ang intestines ba.
Diha na mo ang kuan di physical attributes.
Yeah, diha na mo sulod ang three social class.
Okay.
If daw you as an individual kuno Parcho, ang the most dominant aspect sa imuha is your brain, meaning you are very rational, kusog ang imuhang cognitive aspect sa imong soul, then you are suited to become a philosopher ruler.
Okay.
Yeah, but because if you're a ruler kuno, if you're a philosopher king kuno, according to Plato, meaning makunad kuno na imuhang rational imong reason before emotion and before also your appetites. Magunag yung na imong rational aspect sa imong soul. If rational aspect is the most dominant part of your soul as a person, then you belong to the group of individuals who are suited to become philosopher rulers someday. Diba? That's the first social class. Number 2, second part of our soul kuno is what we call as what I said, the affective portion. We call that spirit, and we call that also as part of our system, the heart. Ang imo kunohang dominant part kuno Parcho sa imuhang soul is your spirit, meaning you emotional gani kay ka. Spirit emotion, then you are suited to become a soldier.
Okay.
Isong nga. Diba? Then of course, if you are suited to your third di mo nga aspect sa imong soul, which means that imong appetite, locomotive, then you are just suited to the third lowest portion of social status in our society. We call that the workers or the merchants.
Trabahante.
And of course, three social class, nga na three kabuok na mga dominant na aspects sa atong soul. If you're a philosopher ruler, dapat dominant kaayo mo ang cognitive aspect. You are very reasonable, rational nga aspect. And if you are a soldier, dapat affective, imo ang spirit ang mas kusog. Then if you are a merchant or a worker, dapat mas dominant ang imuhang appetite, or we call that the locomotive portion sa imuhang. Dapat muna siya three social class, because if ang rule gani Parcho sa state is a person who is a merchant, meaning iyahang aspect na locomotive ang dominant, dili ang iyahang pagka-rational, gubot yun.
Hinay siya pangutok.
Exactly. It's basically the same also if the one that will rule is a person nga dagdako iyang emotion, iyang spirit. no? Not the rational aspect, then definitely the state will fall. So inana siya ang iyang qualification sa ideal state. It should be ruled by the philosopher ruler. And of course, it should be governed by the second class, the soldiers, and of course, the workers of their merchants. And since favorite man siya nga student ni Socrates, hilig matug virtues si Socrates sa una.
Correct.
Dapat kuno ang ato ang mga three social class doon na siya ilang mga kaugalingong mga virtues. When you speak of a leader, a philosopher ruler, doon na siya virtue of wisdom. Murag ba? Diba? Diba? Maato mo lang mga
section.
Wisdom.
Section wisdom. Grade 2, section wisdom.
Knowledge of what's right and wrong, wisdom. Then if you're, of course, a soldier, you have the virtue of courage. Katong you mentioned na before, kato ka Socrates, that the knowledge of what's to be feared and it's not. Diba?
Dibot pasabot, pirmi ka, isog.
Exactly. You have to know what's to be feared when it's not. Otherwise, if you basically have no fear, it's sometimes being foolish according to Plato and Socrates.
Binugo.
And of course, if you belong to the merchant class, number 3, your virtue is temperance. You just basically know temperance, what's right and what's wrong. Because, wisdom is the virtue of knowledge, And of course, virtue of courage, ang mga soldier, temperance, ang ato mga workers. And para niya, if muna siya set up sa Osaka state per show, then you will have an ideal state. And of course, we're going to compare that in our system right now. Like, ang ato baka mga leaders right now, are they really philosopher rulers in a strict sense of the word? Do they have the dominant feature of being rational, reasonable, and very cognitive, Parsho, our leaders right now? Do they have the virtue of wisdom that Plato wants to perpetuate? Diba? There are certain questions that we have to ask right now.
Correct.
But Guru, if we will vote for our leaders, we have to consider that these leaders right now in our country, it doesn't mean that they are popular.
Correct.
That they are to become popular. Because if you ask Plato, our great ancient philosopher actually said that if you want to become a philosopher ruler, if you want to be a leader, you must have the wisdom. Dapat rational, the brain must be the dominant part of your soul. Diba ubang tao mag-show that when they make a decision, nag-una ang ilahang
kasing-kasing.
Kasing-kasing.
Iyay ka.
You are free to become a soldier if that's the case. Diba? If you're a leader, you should use your brain, not art, according to Plato. That really finds relevance to our society right now. Some people who react based on emotion, based on anger, based on hatred, based on vengeance. And if you're a leader and you're acting that way, for Plato, you are not fit to become a leader. Because if you're a leader, you should set aside your emotion. You should basically make a decision based on reason.
Correct.
And he's the first person to tell us that, Pacho. Considering na dugay na bagay siya, pero nakaunan agad siya, ka, ayaw punahunda ng mga emotion. You should be very reasonable enough, rational. Tao gani ka, walay reason. Apit ta ka. Imo lang, you have to live day to day. Apit ramang ka. Soldier pa ka, of course, you just basically take orders from the philosopher ruler. Di ka magamit sa mga utok, Parsho, di ba? Because you just take orders coming from the philosopher rulers. You don't think, you just act.
Correct.
Yung philosopher, okay, attack. The soldiers doesn't have any time to think, but they have the courage because they have the spirit. They trust the philosopher rulers. The philosopher rulers say, ato na kontra, let's attack them. Soldier gani ka, you attack. That's your function. That's your purpose. But if the soldier will question the philosopher ruler, no, I don't think that that's sound. I don't think that that's reasonable. Dili, tamahimo na. You're not fitted to become a soldier if you want to reason out.
Philosopher ka.
Ato na kas leader. Okay, labot dire. Ayo pag soldier, because if you're a soldier, your dominant aspect of your brain is spirit, courage.
Simple para sa una, no?
Sa lang panahon, Parcho. I wish things will be that simpler as Plato would have mentioned, because right now there are basically many complexities in terms of that particular perspective.
Tinod.
Inana kasimple na to pananaw sa una, but right now,
Daghan ang nausap.
dagan na usab. Like right now, itong mga generals, itong mga majors, they are very, very knowledgeable because they don't really rely everything to the commander-in-chief. They have to make decisions split second.
Correct.
And that basically means that I don't think that they will really, rely every decision to basically to people who are above them. They have their own discretion also.
Na.
So I really think na Plato's concept na courage yun or mga soldiers kay just spirit, wala sila yung mga rational spirit ba. Something like that lang.
Wala pa mong sa imong giingon ganina day sa una, education was a privilege. It was not para sa tanan.
Para gutin lang mga adulahan, mga kamao ba. Gamay ba siya?
Kana, gamay.
To Aristotle.
Aristotle, sunod. Di na pa cheeser tubig na.
Cheeser tubig, hindi madaya. Gahi yun ang
impi.
Gahi pang Plato ang emperador
Before tamo padayon di ato sa ni-mention ang atong mga live viewers karon na niuban kanato sa atong episode number 10 atong season finale. Ubay tag mga kuanon mga live viewers no daghang ni like ug ni share sa atong live event. So pinakaunang ni uban nato si Ikitsuan, akong auntie sa Mabolo. They're watching from Mabolo. Si Bay Ramon Angeles. Good morning mga sir. Ako nag-post kanina. Si Ma'am Apple Misa also watching us right now. Sa pa inadre. Of course, si
Sir Leo.
Oh, si Sir si Idol na to.
Idol Leo na to.
Coach Leo. Yes.
Coach Leo.
Congrats day sa iyang anak mo.
Mong anak no? Idol na to na.
Ikuha na ba ni sa Manila yung anak lo day? Murag very bright future ni.
Yeah.
Sa painada. Imong amigo siguro ni
si RJ Alo, ako ng mga estudyante, si Attorney Alo.
Okay.
Si Lich Alas, ako po ng students. Ako ng mga estudyante sa atong philosophy sa UP.
Makarelate sila ni.
Relate sila.
Kanil, taga UP siya ni. Ambot kung kaila ka ni, Dean Yasing.
Yeah, UP na si Dean. Dean Yasing. Mga estudyante.
Kay amo ning team ron bago siya among pinakabag-o nga podcast editor, si Dean. She's watching us right now.
Mga philosophers. Mino na sa itong mga philosophy. Right.
Of course, kaningo sa ato ni siyang i-mention later on kay mo uban na siya nato si Doc Alvin Arcaya. Andam Doc ha? Kinatay surprise later on with Doc Alvin. Si Joman Aznar, imo ning amigo?
Dili na ko student si Joman. Ato yung great. Yeah.
Ingon si Joman nga pwede ba daw i-upload sa iyang video isa sa inyong mga video sa iyang page. Ganahan kay siya sa atong topic basin isa lang sa mga episode. Why not? Atong i-share. Of course, every episode is shareable.
Kanyan, taga-UP sad ko. Naminaw sa din siya sa atong Modernong Pilosopo si Hazel Chu.
Si Madam Inday Tisay, Hazel Chu.
Minaw sa din si Madam Inday Tisay, magabi ha. Salamat sa pagpaminaw.
Kuhit gamay.
Alright.
Na may kuan? Japanese. Siya may di man ko kabawagin sa nila. May gabi diya, Sir Show.
Ikaw may
basa na imong ngan. Lisod kayo ni. I-translate. Ala, kung kinsa mong ganali. May gabi sa diha, ma'am. Murag ma'am man siguro ni. Basta mag-sir gani. Ma'am, gina. S-E-R. Ambot lang.
Alright.
Okay. Sige, padayon na di. Ato ta ni Aristotle.
Yeah, Aristotle, Marcio. The third generation of our Greek ancient philosopher. He is a student of Plato. For instance, kanit ba Socrates, you have Plato, and of course you have Plato, Aristotle. Socrates, Plato was able to make his own school, mutong the academy, and ang iyang best student was Aristotle, who became himself. Yeah, parang Aristotle, very, very familiar figure in terms of mga Greek philosophers, mingong kag tao nga bunguton,
Diyay ka.
nga makaingon mao, Aristotle. Kinsa is Aristotle? Aristotle.
Silingan yung...
He also created his own school, the Lyceum. Imagine that. From a person known as Socrates, he was able to produce some matter of connectivity, whatever it is. You have Plato and Aristotle. He was able to create his own school. We call that the Lyceum. And para nako, one of the best theory of Aristotle that I can actually, remember ever since kaniyang theory gid partial, which I believe is very undisputable,
Okay.
that man by nature gid partial is a social and political animal.
Diyay ka. Social and political. Okay.
Exactly. Para nako partial, we are social. I would agree to Aristotle. At the same time, we are also political animal. Let me just explain that particular theory of Aristotle partial. When you speak of the word social animal, meaning we cannot live alone. We cannot live by ourselves. Do you believe in that, Parcho?
You know, no man is an island. Di ba?
That is correct. That's basically just a decorative, or another way of saying about this particular principle of Aristotle, that we are by nature social animals. We cannot live by ourselves. When people actually say that we are antisocial, but that person you speak of antisocial, he might not be able to socialize technically, talking about individuals, but that person cannot live by himself.
You know,
That person is antisocial, dili siya matog parties, dili siya kaya mag-istorya, but can he live by himself? The answer is no. Because he needs other people to survive, like people who made his, food, his shelter, his clothing, etc. We are aware of that. We cannot live by ourselves. Aristotle is one of those first individual who was able to say that, verbalize that we cannot live by ourselves. We are social animals. Number one. Agree, Parcho? First, the answer is, of course, are we social animals? Agree ka na, Parcho?
agree ko na, totally.
Para mo ni
100%.
Aristotle. Exactly, because according to Aristotle, if you can live by yourself, you're either a beast or a god.
Kana.
Mabuhay ka ikaw ra, mura kag animal. Mura kuno kag pananap. Or you're a god. Those are the two individuals who can live by themselves. Either you are a beast or a god if you can live by yourself. Number one, we are by nature social animals. Number two, we are also political animals according to Aristotle. When you speak of political animals, it doesn't mean that we are also involved in political affairs. We are very, very active events pertaining to governance in our state. We might be talking about politics, but we don't really interfere of our actual government legislation, execution of laws. We are ordinary citizens. But according to Aristotle, even then you're still a political animal, because for him, when you are a political animal, either two things lang ka. It's either you are a ruler or a follower. So if you are a ruler, of course you're a political animal. If you're a mere follower or just a follower, or you are a follower, of course you are a political animal, basically the same. So two things. Are you a political animal? The answer is yes. You cannot escape that. Either you're a leader or a follower. Are you a social animal? The answer is yes, because you cannot live by yourself. Those are the two things. According to Aristotle, it's very, very important and undisputable even at present. Nobody dispute that. It's 100% true. We are social and at the same time political animals. As a matter of fact, according to Aristotle, because we are social and political animals, we evolve from an individual into what you call as a state. We evolve from a mere individual to a state. And we are by nature social and political animals. Inanakanindot ang pag-explain ni Aristotle. From an individual to a family, to a society, to a state. And here we bring the a relationship of individuals which will show to the fact that we are social and political animals. Let us start that part show with explaining inside lang siguro sa household,
Sige ka na.
sa atong balay lang.
Hmm.
Household na to part show. Para ni Aristotle magod, there are relationships inside the household which will give us a glimpse of the fact that we are social and political animals.
Hmm.
For example, in terms of the husband and the wife.
Hmm.
Para part show ni Aristotle, itong panahon naman good. Of course, dominant man ang males compared to the females, unlike right now, no?
Correct.
Present. Who is the leader? Who is the follower in that particular setup sa household? It's the husband.
Husband, yun, lead, head of the family.
And the follower is the wife.
Tinon.
So both of them are political animals.
Hmm.
Because either of them is a follower and a ruler. Particularly the husband, the ruler, and the wife, the follower. Are they social animals also? The answer is yes. One cannot live without the other.
Yeah, ka.
Thus, live without the wife cannot live without the husband.
Hmm.
So they are both social and political animals.
Tinon.
Another, so inside the household part show, is the master and slave relationship.
Tinon, kana.
So slavery is, panahon biya part show, slavery is normal.
Hmm.
Master and slave relationship. Can they live without the other? Can the master live without the slave? The answer is no.
Hmm.
Can the slave live without the master? The answer is no.
Hmm.
They need each other to survive. Therefore, they are social animals. Am I correct, person?
Tinon.
Are they political animals? The answer is yes.
Yes.
The leader is the master, and the follower is, of course, the slave.
Slave. Hmm.
Diba? So, sa atong household per show, daghang mga relationship diya makaingon ta nga we are by nature social and political animals.
Hmm.
Like also in the household, the parents and the children. Can they live without the other? Parents cannot live without the children cannot live without the parents.
Hmm.
We call that social animals. Are they political animals? The answer is yes. Who are the leaders here? The parents. Who are the followers here?
Children.
That's the brilliance of Aristotle, trying to create an impression that indeed, even the most basic unit in our society, which is the household, nana diha ang manifestations that we are indeed social and political animals. We are social because we cannot live by ourselves, political because we are either a leader or the follower. Diba?
Ingon si Doc Alvin, iya daw ang asawa ang ruler sa balay.
ay. Doc Alvin, murag lahi na nga estehana nato. Doc Alvin, no, nana sa ato ang season 2, no? Ato ng season 2. Season 2 na nato. Doc Alvin, i-reserve na issue Doc Alvin because it might have some medical and legal reasons, no?
Ayun, relax lang, Doc. Relax. Later.
And then, of course, from that particular perspective, mo grow ang society into like it's just a community and of course state. Because we are social and political animals. Kana lang siguro for sure kung i-share nato kung Aristotle tungod kay murag ning lapas sa tag-usa ka oras.
Wala pa, 52 minutes. Okay ra. So
technically na nato usa ka oras ato.
Okay. So nindot no atong full pack atong finale, 2 philosophers atong na discuss, and of course this is episode number 10. We talked about Plato and Aristotle, and we would have season 2 coming up. Sige, may story about season 2. Daghang kayo nangutana. In fact, daghang na kayo ni message nako. Unsa man ni last na ni, wa na sunod. Unsa man ang season 2, daghang kayo mga curious. So, mas mayo siguro, ludi nga atong, daghang sila gamayng idea what it's gonna be sa atong season 2. But before that, ato sa silang invite-on pag-usab sa ato ang YouTube. If you find value to what we're doing right here sa ato ang Modernong Pilosopo, natay YouTube channel, no? Modernong Pilosopo. Very new, bago pa ni siya. So muna nga 27 pang ka-subscribes. Be part of the subscribers. Watch these videos na diha ang from episode 1 till 10. Ano pa'y gamayng kuwang, kaya mo pa nang i-upload. But before we start season 2, na diha kompleto na. Also, we are in Spotify, in Anchor FM, katong ganahan, maminaw lag audio. Naata diha, do visit our Spotify page, Modernong Pilosopo Gyapon. And yes, Ludi, tagay sila gamayng teaser sa season 2. What it's gonna be for season 2, August 8, 2020.
Yeah. Season 2, we will be featuring our new philosopher,
Ayay ka.
si Sir Alvin Arcaya.
Ayay ka. Ato ning pa kuyogon siguro atong
Program.
patawagon. Dok,
Pasok, no? Pasok, Doc
Pasok, Doc.
Alvin Arcaya.
tawag daw Dok para ato sang ma-welcome o
Los-
atong introduce sa atong mga live viewers o atong mga followers sa page, of course, Modernong Pilosopo page on Facebook. Para makabot, tagano sila gamayng idea what it's gonna be. The reason, dahil di gamayng background, no, why we come up with season 2, kay tungod, now, ito ning pasudlon si Alvin. Hello, Doc.
Oh,
You're on. Mind gabi, Doc Alvin. You are on air or you are live via Facebook. O kadungog sila ni Montanan, Doc. Mayang gabi, nindot kayong tingin.
Alright.
Alright.
Mayong gabi sa tanan.
Yeah. Doc Alvin, atong ikatulong pilosopo.
Yes.
Please tell
Mayong
our
gabi.
listener
René.
what's up with our season 2 sa atong Modernong Pilosopo.
Season 2, you could expect another philosopher pero naatay aspetong medical, no? So
Kini.
we are inviting everyone kung kita ato ang mga suki na tigpaminaw kung naa sila yung mga kaila or sila mismo naa sila yung problemang medical or even problemang legal, they can send in their stories or their questions or their concerns, and we will be very glad to answer or explain kung sa mga ilang suliran, no? So,
Kana.
Exactly. So natay basahon na suliran, no, sa ato ang mga listener, ato mga mahatag letter na to, and we will be able to give them advice, basically advice nga legal o advice nga medical, no? So kung kinsa man kayo namin mga problema, we will try our very best to address your problems and explain that in the light of, in a medical perspective, of course, legal perspective, naadri si Doc Alvin Arcaya to give us the medical perspective sa ato mga problema medical at tagaan ta mo legal nga perspekto. Of course, yours truly.
And of course, the reason why we're doing that, dahil Lodi, kay tungod in the past few weeks or months, weeks lang, daghang kayo ni message na to in Facebook ba, nangutan na, mulabay lang ko sila pangutan na about sa ilang situation, kay kasabot man tangan na, tas pandemic ba, dili sila kaadto sa ilang doktor, di ba, dili sila ka-check up, unya na sila problema, legalities pod sa ilang situation, di po sila ka-pangutanan na to, kay lisod man kayo atong platform about philosophy man. So, as much as we want to serve these listeners ba, atong mga followers, ganahan mi mo tabang kay, of course, ato nahug man nga lingaw-lingaw, at the same time, public service, nga naman tayo ikatabang yun, makatubag man mo. Of course, Doc Alvin, makatubag na, ikaw sa legal nga aspekto, makatubag na. That is the reason why we come up with season 2. And we want to make it very exciting and entertaining. Atong buhatan gamay o ganang pakatawa ba, or ganang kalingawan. So, muna, so tell them kanang attorney Lodi kung morning nga dear Lodi ato silang pakiton kadali sa kanang season 2 nga flyer na to or murag teaser muna siya season 2 starting August 8, 2020. Dear Lodi, tambagi ko attorney, tambagi ko Doki. So muna siya, so kita mo na nana sa atong Facebook page. So, kung namin mga pangutana, namin mga letter, of course, namin mga surprise dahil nga premyo dahil ni later on, no? Kung kinsay mapilian ng mga letter, kaya ba kung daghan kayo magpadaan daghan mga na problema ron, di ta ka tubag right away, pero nata i-feature nga letter for that episode niya, atong basahon niya with Doc Alvin and Attorney Rene, ato ning tubagon ang ilang mga pangutana. Alright.
Exactly.
Kana,
Shout out sa si Sir Alcitri, napadiri si Attorney Garote. Of course, pwede din sila mag-guest. Atong mga banggitan na to ng amigo dire. Peter Jugayo.
Correct.
So let me add lang, no, Attorney Rene and Idol Brian na ang season 2, no, so dili gahapon mawala kay asal for me myself is a fan of philosophy. So naagapon from time to time maka topic ta about mga philosophers or mga prinsipyo sa mga philosophers, pero more on naana siya interaction sa mga atuang listeners and audience. So
correct.
Yes. So aside from the katong atuang mag-send sila og mga ilang suliran kung sa ato pang name lang na problema nila na ilang ganahan mga pangitaan o tubag or solusyon, may it be legal or legal. Pwede, that will be a public service or a free consultation, legal and medical consultation from your study, and of course from Attorney Rene. And at the same time, ang mga viewers po or listeners na to, they can still interact during to ang program, no? So they can ask questions or they can also give their advice. Maybe katong problema nga gisend sa ato ang kani
Letter sender.
Listener, letter sender, na ay mga listeners na to nga naka-experience po siya
correct.
About that certain problem na pwede po siya makatabag, no? So this is not limited na sa tuwa lang. It will be an open interaction. And if ever na po yung mga listeners na to, na po sila itong mutana, nga maski di kayo related sa ato ang letter sender, as long as matubag lang na to as a medical doctor and si attorney as a lawyer, pwede po kayo na to matubag na. No? So, exciting kayo and I'm very excited.
Appeal bang love life ni Doc?
Yes.
Appeal bang love?
Pwede kayo, no? So, although dili man tayo gingon nga drivers with lover, pero ang attorney o doktor pwede man sad mo give og mga advice.
Kana. Exciting.
Exciting. I'm very excited sa ato ang season 2, no? So hopefully kung kinsa man tong mga suki na daan, no, sa atong Modernong Pilosopo, ma-share nila or ma-inform nila ang ilang mga kaila na naay posibleng problema medical or legal, pwede sila mag-send. Ato lang i-post, no, kung asa sila pwede mag-send, no?
Correct.
August 8.
That's correct.
August 8.
Mga show. August 8.
Right.
Salamat,
Doc.
Alright, sige. Mayong gabi ninyong tanan.
Mayong gabi. See you on August 8.
Alright. Congratulations guys, no, sa first season sa ato ang Modernong Pilosopo.
Salamat sa imong support.
Well done.
Thank you.
Alright.
Alright.
Mayong gabi. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Doc. See you soon.
Alright, Lodi. Murag exciting kayo, season 2. So, wala na ganina daghang na kuan ba, murag na sad sila, Lodi ba? Uy, finale na din eh. No, yes, of course, whenever there's an end, ambot kisig philosopher, there's always a new beginning, di ba? Whenever there's a door closed, there's always a window open. So, muna kanindot life goes on. Season 2, August 8, 2020, that's another Saturday. Same time, 8:30 till 10 o'clock. And this is gonna be more relatable for everybody. Kaya of course, maka-interact sila. Naa sila yung mga problema medical, problema legal. We are here to help them, no, give them advice in the best way we can, no, in our own capacity. Of course, naaman mo diha, attorney, si Doki, mutabang mga Lodi. So ako, facilitate lang ko sa interaction, of course, niya. I will do the creative side of things. as
You will read the letters sa itong mga listeners.
Oo.
Ikaw man mo.
pina
Ikaw mo pili
Charo
ang mga
Santos.
letter.
Charo
Ikaw
Santos.
si Charles Marco, no?
Magbinabay ta ni. Hala, sige.
Okay, sige.
Sige, before
So,
Lodi, ato sa ning karon siguro atong basahon gamay ang mga ning gukod o kanang comment ba before ta mo no? Nya final words nimo kay daghan kayong excited. So ni comment day si Kuan kitsa man ni si mo din ning migo siguro kaning lingon siya nga sir maayong gabi dapat inyo i-guess si Master Pilosopo Elpidio Benjamin S. Noel and Carlo Hakad dul sa imo ning mga
si nagi may mga master sa law office namo, no? Kanay sila ni Elpidio Benjamin Noel ug si Carlo Haka. Ako ni mga amo na ko sa law office. Hasta ni si Attorney Garute.
okay.
Abi na sila kay mugin na sila modernong pilosopo sa mga opisina.
Yan ang
And of course, ako na tagang-episode nga sila mohatag sa ilang mga advice sa mga handlon na mga advice. Puhon, moabot na ta sa itong season 2 sa itong Dear Lodi. No?
Dear Lodi.
May problema. Alright.
So any
May
final
problema
words Lodi para before ta mo wrap up?
Salamat for season 1. See you sa season 2. That's all. Thank you very much. And basically, we will have a new platform and hopefully it's aimed to help people. And this is basically our advocacy in the part show. And of course, we have Dr. Kaya, joining us. We're very grateful and happy. And see you around. Thank you very much.
All right,
for listening.
Maayong gabi. Again, season 2 is coming up August 8, 2020. We'll be announcing, putting some links there sa ato ang Facebook page, and you can start sending the letters now, no? Katong na yung mga problema, dili pinansyal, ito ko pinansyal. Problema.
Amadio Abad, akong client, Amadio Abad.
Okay. So, Modernong Pilosopo at gmail.com. Send your letters there. Send your concerns about medical concerns or legal concerns ng among matabang. And we will start answering them on August 8 for our episode 1, season 2 of Modernong Pilosopo. Dagang salamat Lodi. Maayong gabi.
Okay. Sige. May gabi. Parcho.
All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you.